Hello, everybody, and thank you. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us at this Your Overseas Home webinar, Common Pitfalls to Avoid When Buying a Property in Italy. I guess rather appropriately for Halloween night, we're avoiding property nightmares. So we're just making sure that everything's safe, everything's secure, everything is kept nice and fluffy, and there's no problems at all. So my name is Christopher Nye. I'm the senior editor at Your Overseas Home and Italy Property Guides. It's great to have you with us, whether you're watching live or catching up on demand. And in this webinar, I am joined by Manlio Gervasi from Sea Legal. Manlio, why don't you introduce yourself and explain a little bit about Sea Legal?
Sure. Thank you, Chris, and hello, everyone. My name is. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. My name is Manlio Gervasi. I'm a senior partner at Sea Legal. We are a team of 8-10 lawyers, and we have office in Rome. We are headquartered in Rome, with also small office in all other region of Italy, like Tuscany, Lucca, Puglia, in Ostuni, and Sicily, in Palermo and in Noto. We assist international clients in international real estate transaction. Also, we assist international clients in setting up company in Italy, even with international shareholder. We assist also in immigration law, such as visa or Italian citizenship, and also in inheritance and taxes. Our main purpose is to assist international clients and in the achievement and safeguard the best interest of the clients in Italy. We are assisting clients for almost 12 years now.
Excellent. Okay, and I know that you're assisting a client at the moment. You're in Ostuni finalising a property deal at the moment.
So, currently, the property is in Ostuni, but the deed is here in Rome.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, so what we'd like, I'm going to ask some questions, but we'd also like your own questions. Some people have already started. Thanks very much. What you do is you just type your question into the questions tab, which you should see on the right-hand side of your screen, and just to get you in the mood for typing. Why don't people just put down where in Italy they're thinking of buying? That would just to get a bit of interaction going. You'd be interested to find out where exactly you're looking to buy. Okay, so we're talking about a thing that many people are worried about, which is the buying process in Italy. In our surveys, it always comes up. Roughly 50% of people are a little bit worried about buying their property. In fact, I think it's no harder than anywhere else. So I'm just going to go through some questions, but like I say, we'll then put yours to Manlio too. So, okay, so let's just start off. Could you give us a general outline of the property buying process?
Sure. As mentioned, the majority of our assistance is on a real estate transaction. In fact, we complete hundreds of transactions all over Italy during the year. The general idea, can I give you a general idea of the process to buy property in Italy, which is, from the legal point of view, is quite different from the UK, for example, from the US. In Italy, is quite the opposite. In fact, first of all, we have different roles of players in the process, different professionals, such as a lawyer or the notary, the estate agents, the surveyor. I think these are the four professionals involved in the real estate transaction. What we advise in terms of general purchase process is at the beginning of the process, at the moment of the offer, ensure that the contingency clause are included in the proposta, acquisto, purchase proposal, in order to carry out due diligence of the property, which is extremely important because in Italy, for example, and if this offer is without any contingency clause, this contract become binding, and there is no possibility to appoint a surveyor for cadastral compliance check, to urban plan verification, building authorization, if the property has any liens, any constraints, any third-party claims, verification title deeds, because at the moment of the offer, without any contingency clause, the buyer accept the property as it is, pay deposit, and this could be difficult to claim the deposit back, and experience delay in request the payment back from the seller. This is what, so we suggest a smooth purchase process in which we guide our clients throughout the process, avoiding any kind of issue, execute the contracts, or pay the deposit or the balance fee at the balance amount of the price at the right time when the contract is executed, once the due diligence is completed, and not in advance. So we advise the clients during this process in this way.
Okay, sure. Now, I suppose the first question to get out of the way first is, there's a notary, so do we definitely need a lawyer as well?
No, the appointment of lawyer is not mandatory. The role of the lawyer is to represent, when he's appointed, represent the buyer or the seller, because the notary is a public officer. Sure. The notary does not represent the buyer, does not represent the seller. Has the ultimate role at the moment of the closing to register the deed in the land registry and collect the payment for tax purposes.
Okay.
So it is better that an international buyer, not used to dealing with legal Italian law, with the terms and conditions of the contracts, avoiding.
Yeah, I think most of us are gonna think it's a good idea. It's a very sensible investment. Getting our own lawyer. Okay, so when we come to Italy on our first viewing trip, and we find the property that we like, what's the first thing that can happen? Are we usually asked to sign a reservation deposit, like in some countries?
Yes, also in Italy is the same. The estate agent will ask to, if there is an estate agent involved in the transaction, or even the buyer will ask at the moment of the offer to deposit or to pay a deposit in order to reserve the property. We suggest to use escrow account service,
Sure.
who is held officially in Italy by a notary, not pay the estate agent in advance. Yeah. I mean, the deposit into the bank account of the estate agent, because it's a commercial and private bank account. It's not an escrow account.
No.
Don't pay the seller as the deposit without having a contract in place with the rights and proper condition that safeguards the buyer.
Okay, so it's a normal thing to sign, but we would definitely want to get it checked over by you before we pay any money. Or sure.
In fact, in every case, we negotiate these terms and condition.
Sure.
To protect the buyer.
And what sort of deposit would we be talking about at this stage?
Usually, it's 10% of the purchase price.
Oh, I see, that much, right?
In some cases, the seller asks more deposit, even up to 20%.
Okay, sure. Okay, and we can make that contingent on getting a mortgage approval and
getting the contingency also to carry out due diligence, for example, on the property. Appoint a surveyor for cadastral compliance check, urban plan verification, and please
explain to me about the cadastro compliance check. So that's a survey, but
yes.
So what's that covering?
Yes, this covers the verification from the surveyor. Is a visual inspection of the house.
Okay.
Even if ice in place, for example, the property is in Ostuni,
Sure.
The seller is in London, I'm here in Rome, for example, we appoint a local surveyor for a visual inspection of the house and verification if the official cadastral floor plan is
Right.
in compliance with the current status of the property. If
I
there are
see.
no extra bedrooms, extra not authorized, no extra windows,
Okay.
no.
Are they also checking? Is that survey also checking that basically the place isn't going to fall down, that it's constructed properly?
In Italy, we don't have very much this kind of check, but
Okay.
this check can also be covered by the inspection by the surveyor if it's required by the seller.
Okay. We've got a question from Philippa, who's buying in Tuscany, who says the survey process is very confusing. I've been quoted all sorts of prices from €800 to 10% of the purchase price. Can you explain?
Sorry, the surveyor fees quoted?
She has been quoted for the survey anywhere between €800 and 10% of the purchase price. Clearly, that can't be correct, can it?
€800 and 1% of the purchase price between.
Well, it says 10%, so I don't know if that's a typo but what would we expect to pay for the survey?
For the surveyor, could be from 500 up to €1,500.
Okay.
Depends on the checks. Depends on how big is the property. Obviously, is a small property. Is €500. Is a big property, like 300 or 400 square meter. The check takes more time, so is up maximum to €1,500.
Okay, so I think Philippa, I would not employ that surveyor who is indeed trying to charge her 10%. So okay.
Well, 10% is very, very high.
Yes, that does seem high. Okay. We have a question from Rosemary, who's buying in Sardinia, who wants to know the approximate cost charged by a lawyer. Is it based on time or the purchase price?
For in Italy, most of the lawyers charge for the type of activities we will perform. For example, we have flat fee based on the activities.
I see. Okay.
So
it's a flat fee, but based on the level of services required. Okay. What Rosemary is also asking: what are the benefits or pitfalls of buying at auction?
Well, the auction, there is already the due diligence on the property, because the judge, at the moment to put in place on the auction the property, appoint already a surveyor. So there is already a survey on the property. It's also on the list on the court, on the tribunal. The pitfall would be possibly better understanding the procedure of the auction. In this case, it's better to appoint a lawyer.
Okay, sure. Good answer. Okay. Okay. Up to what point can I back out of the purchase if I've decided against it or something's gone wrong?
This depends on the contract.
Sure.
It's a general question. It depends on each purchase process is different. Negotiation, but in general terms, until the due diligence is completed, this is the step on which, as we manage the process, we deal with the process until the due diligence. The buyer can notify the decision to buy or not, the positive or negative outcome of the due diligence, once we complete our checks on the property.
Okay.
In this case, they can pull out without any penalty.
Right. Okay, great. We have we often hear that we don't have to come to Italy. We can use power of attorney. Would you advise coming at least to sign the final deed at the notary's office? And what does it cost if we do want to get power of attorney instead?
We also the notary recommends to appoint a person of the seller trust to represent the buyer.
Okay.
To appoint a representative, a lawyer, or a person of trust, using the power of attorney. I have another one in front of me,
Okay.
coming from London. In this case, we represent with the power of attorney the buyer in front of the notary without the need to come to Italy and sign the contract, the final deed. The cost of the POA, power of attorney, is 400 euros.
Okay.
Only the cost of the power of attorney.
Okay.
Obviously, there is the representation at the closing, which is paid separately from this for this payment.
And what happens at the notary at the final signing? Is it almost like a party atmosphere because you're finally getting the property of your dreams?
It depends. Sometimes is everybody happy. Sometimes there are still also the same day of the notary meeting negotiation. Also the same day of this can happen a lot. The notary can request the same day additional documentation, not required in advance. So also the notary meeting can take 2 or 3 hours. So depends.
Okay. Another pitfall? We've had a question about exchange rates. The exchange rates go up and down. What happens if you have if suddenly you come to sign and the pound or the dollar has collapsed and suddenly the property costs thousands more? Does that often happen?
No, for us, no. We don't have experience in this kind of issue. I know that sometimes clients are very stressed about this topic.
Yes. Yeah. I think the easiest way around it is as soon as you make an offer is to speak to a currency specialist.
Yes, this is the best way in order to save a lot of money. You have a exchange specialist. I think is the best way to save money. Definitely.
Yeah.
Also, from the time of the offer until the closing takes even 6-8 months in Italy.
Okay.
But also in other countries.
Yeah. Okay. Now we've had a question from Victoria. Philippa said buy a forward contract. Yes, Philippa is saying get a forward contract to fix the exchange rate as soon as you can. Yes, that's an excellent advice. Thank you, Philippa, and we recommend smart currency exchange for that. Okay, Victoria, who is looking to buy in Bolzano, some properties are reserved for residents only. Does this include people who are on a temporary residence permit, or must they have qualified for permanent residency? I didn't know that. Right.
Yes, in Bolzano there is a special regulation in which there will be the decision of the mayor that allow to foreigners to purchase a property.
Oh, okay.
When you buy a property in this area of Bolzano, it is important to verify this kind of issue.
Okay.
In Bolzano and also in the little islands across Italy, like for example Eolie Islands, Lampedusa, Pantelleria. In all these islands, Isola also in Tuscany, Favignana, Egadi Islands, there is a special request from the local police station.
Oh, okay, right. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, now we've had a question which is going to take me a while to read out from Alex, asking to clarify different ownership types, and he's given a few examples: intera proprietà, nuda proprietà, parziale proprietà, usufrutto, and so on. Can you just tell me a little bit? I didn't know there was different ownership types. That's
yes.
Interesting.
Yes, there is different ownership types. For example, nuda proprietà usufrutto is bare ownership and usufruct. This is very common among Italians and family, in which, for example, the father, the mother keep the usufruct and provide at the time of the expiration of the date of the death the bare ownership, and at the moment of the death the children, in normal cases the children, they provide the bare ownership. They become completely owner of the house without any wills.
I see.
In order to avoid
Okay.
succession fees, etc.
And so when we're looking to buy in Italy, we should decide before we come there exactly how we're going to organize it, and then and you'll work out which system is
This
best.
verification in case the title deeds must be verified with the seller.
Sure.
Could be the case that you are buying only the bare ownership, for example. Could happen.
Okay. So you own the property. You own the property, but you can't use it.
You can use it until the usufruct, the person who wants the usufruct dies. So it's important. It's for the verification, the due diligence is important for that case.
Okay, sure. Okay. Now, we've had a couple of questions. I know we're not talking specifically about visas, but we have had a couple of questions about, well, okay, for the first one, I think it's quite easy to answer, which is from Michael, who says, has moving to Italy got more difficult since Brexit?
Well, I will say the opposite.
Oh, really?
I would say Brexit made it more difficult to get a visa to come to Europe for British people.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I think that's a big yes. Okay,
But it's true, yes.
but it's not. It's not impossible. It's just a question of getting the visas, and you can help people with visas.
Yes, we assist. We have a special department with our colleague who assists clients in getting the proper visa. There are different kind of visa. Currently, there is also a digital nomad visa, which is a very now after COVID, all the people can work remotely. So Italy has also from this year digital nomad visa, and they can work in Italy as a freelancer or with the permission of the foreign company. For example, we assist clients in visa application.
Sure. I mean, it's got harder, hasn't it? But we're just in the same boat as Americans and Australians, and there's plenty of those. There's plenty of those living there, judging by the. Rosemary is asked to explain about the golden visa. Is there a golden visa for Italy? There isn't a property-based one, is there?
Excuse me?
A golden visa. There's no property-based golden visa, is there?
Well, in some cases, if the investment through a company to purchase a property through a company above that 500,000 euros, we can work in a special golden visa.
Oh, okay. Right, fantastic.
But it is not easy. It's not easy. We did 3 times in the past, but it's possible.
Okay.
This is called a golden visa.
Right, okay. Philip has asked, how difficult is it to get permanent resident status in Italy? And I think she's got an eye on that you only pay 2% tax on the purchase if you're a resident.
This depends on if he can obtain a visa. If he can obtain a visa, the residency permit is more or less automatic.
Okay. Would you suggest, if we were looking to buy a property and then get a visa, or would you suggest get the visa first and then think about buying the property?
It depends. We have a lot of clients that purchase property also above 1 million without any kind of visa. They stay 3 months each, 6 months in Italy per year.
Okay.
So it depends. Depends how much time they want to stay in Italy.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. If for my purchase I'm relying on getting rental income, is that easy or possible? Or so suppose, well, I want to buy a property in Rome, but I'm going to rent it out all of August because I don't want to be there. It's too hot there. It's full of tourists. So can one do that?
Which way? If there is a property manager, or
No, it's just legally. If I want to rent out the property for say 4 weeks a year, is that
no, there is no any kind of restriction. In Italy, there is no restriction in terms of how much time you can rent out the property. There is no restriction. Not that there is some restriction in London, for example, in terms of period of time that you can rent it out. But in Italy, there are no restrictions.
But I will need a license or anything.
Yes, you need an application, obtain a code. Obtain a code. Is also on demand. You make application through us or through a surveyor, through an engineer, through an architect. Obtain a code, and you can freely rent out a property.
Okay, and what about if I find a property that I really like, but it needs I want to move that room. I want to move that over there. I want to renovate that. I want to build a swimming pool, whatever. Can you advise before we get too far down the buying process whether that's going to be possible, or do you speak to someone in the local planning office, or how does that work?
This is covered in our due diligence.
Okay.
Also, the urban plan area, what you can do in this zoning in this area according to the zoning. Restriction, etc. This is covered in our due diligence. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Alex has asked, can a property be bought by a UK limited company, or does it have to be in personal names only?
We can buy. It's a different procedure. Currently, we are buying this property in Ostuni through a French company, but it's possible to buy. Yes, it's a different procedure. We need different documentation, but it's possible.
Okay. We're almost at the end of our time, but Laura has asked, can you talk a bit about the 7% tax areas? Is it worth narrowing your search to find such a town?
The 7% tax regime is only applicable only for pensioners.
Okay.
And only in the regions of south of Italy,
okay,
and in the towns of, below 20,000 inhabitants.
Okay.
So
that sounds all right. I mean, that's perfect. That's what I'd like. Okay. Does it include Sicily?
Yeah. Sorry.
And Sicily?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Sicily too is a Molise. Puglia, Calabria, Campania.
Okay. And how are we defining a pensioner? Over what age?
Pensioner, as far as you get the pension
okay.
in your country, you also are considered a pensioner in Italy.
Oh, I've got a while then. Okay, I'll forget that idea for a while. Okay, Philippa has said, so I may have led people up the garden path. She's saying, do you need planning permission to add a swimming pool?
Yes, absolutely, and sometimes you need more than authorization, more than one. Depends on the zoning, and depends on the area where the property is located, from different authorities. I mean.
Okay, right. Right, I'm afraid we've run out of time. So thank you very much, Mania, for kind of a random...
yes, no problem. I answer as much question I know, but as you know...
It's been really helpful. If readers have found this helpful, perhaps they could leave a little review on Trustpilot. There should be a link coming up, hopefully. If there's not, you'll find us quite easily under UFC's home. If you do have more questions, please do, there you go. Please do get in touch with Manio directly. We worked with Manio for a long time, and we absolutely recommend See Legal. They've helped many of our clients. Yes. So thank you, Manio. We hope to see you again soon, and thank you to our readers, viewers even, and good luck in your property search. Bye-bye.
My pleasure. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.